In this lesson, we're going to start with ventilation. Put simply, it just means exchanging the air inside your house with clean outdoor air. And we'll also go over when it's a good time to use some air filters. So to begin with, the most straightforward way to freshen your home is to open up your windows. Now, depending on the season and climate, this might not always be possible, but ideally we want to open windows on opposite sides of the home to create a cross breeze and exchange that air as quickly as possible. So this will allow fresh air to flow and replace that stagnant air, bringing in some much needed oxygen, removing excess CO2, removing pollutants that have built up. And when we make this a daily practice, it's really a great way to just freshen our environment and ensure that the air we're breathing is not just stagnant and full of a whole bunch of pollutants that have just been building up over the days or weeks before the last time that we exchanged that air. Now, depending on the setup of your room, including the location of your windows and door, the amount of time that you need to keep your windows open to exchange that air changes. However, if your window only opens a slight amount and there's no other good openings, it could take you over an hour or more to fully exchange that air. So ideally, I recommend opening on opposite sides of the home and just creating as much of a breeze as you can. Sleeping with bedroom windows open is a great strategy. If you suffer from pollen allergies, you can always air your bedroom out during the afternoon time when those pollen counts are at the lowest. And opening bathroom windows after bathing or showering to allow that moisture to escape is really important. Keep the door closed, keep that steam from going into other areas of your room, and run the exhaust fan if you've got one. So anytime we're running an exhaust fan, it's always a good idea to crack the window a bit too, because that way it's sucking fresh air in and not just pulling air in from other areas of the home. So the same goes when cooking. Be sure to open the windows in your kitchen when you're cooking, and if you've got an exhaust fan, running that at the same time too. Now, exhaust fans are important to ensure that they're exchanging air outside. We don't want to be just recirculating the air in or pulling air out and putting it into a garage, for example. We want to make sure that our exhaust fans ideally are discharging to the outside of our home. Now in the bathrooms, you could consider installing an overrun timer, and this will just make sure that the fan runs for an adequate amount of time after the shower to ensure that it's pulled all that moist air. You want at least 15 minutes of running after a shower or bath inside a bathroom to ensure that that air has been pulled out, because a humid environment just is inviting mold to start growing. Now, having a qualified HVAC technician to service and maintain your heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems is really important. Paying particular attention to the filters that are in there and exchanging those, or if there's any drip pans that are collecting water and just inviting mold to be growing in there, we want to make sure that those are regularly cleaned. Now, if you're in a big city with particularly polluted air, if you can't properly ventilate or you just want an extra layer of protection, using an air filter is a great choice. Now, not all air filters are created equal, that's for sure. When selecting an air filter, there's a couple things to keep in mind just to ensure that you're choosing a good one. So number one, choose a HEPA filter. This stands for high efficiency particulate air, which means that the filter utilizes technology that lets it trap at least 99.95% of dust, smoke, mold, and other particulates. So it's capturing things 0.3 microns and bigger. So this is good. Ideally though, we'd like to choose a filter that's capturing 0.1 microns and bigger. This is just going to improve our air purification abilities of that filter. Now, a lot of new filters out there are including wireless options in their devices. So ensuring that you're choosing an air filter that doesn't have Wi-Fi capabilities, or at least that has Wi-Fi abilities to be turned off. I'd also recommend avoiding ozone generators. They can deal with room odors, but they aren't the best choice due to the fact that they produce toxic compounds in the form of ozone. This is a really irritating pollutant, not anything we want to be putting into our environment. And it's also best to steer clear of electronic air cleaners. They lose efficiency really quick, they stop filtering well, and they're also putting ozone into our environment as well. So remember to regularly replace and clean your air filters to keep them effective, prevent dust and mold buildup. So being mindful of the fact that HEPA filters should be replaced. You can't really wash those. If you have a pre-filter or a carbon filter, you can wash those, but you really want to look at your manuals here and figure out the best time to replacing your filters. It's usually around the 6-month mark. So just be mindful of that, set an alert, and make sure that you're not forgetting about this, because then you're just not going to be getting the air filtration you need, and it can actually build up some nasty stuff like mold. So in the next lesson, we'll go through some other ways that you can improve your indoor air quality.